Hello and welcome to La Rosa Reads. I'm Denise La Rosa, and today we are going to discuss my favorite books of the third quarter of the year 2022. Let's talk books. I have fallen in love with recording these quarterly favorite videos. I absolutely love reflecting upon all of the incredible reading that I've engaged in each quarter, and it's interesting to see what books crop up to the top. And so today I am going to share with you my top six favorites of the third quarter of the year 2022. Typically I try to make it a top five, but there was just that book coming in at number 6 that I could not discuss. So here we go. Coming in at number 6 is an audiobook that I listened to called Stories from the Tenants Downstairs. This is a wonderful collection of short stories that has characters who live in the same building in Brooklyn, New York, and they are tenants in this building, and their paths cross for some do not necessarily. However, each individual tenant has a story to share that is absolutely engaging and so deep yet entertaining. I absolutely love listening to the audiobook. It was narrated by quite a few narrators, and so each of those narrators took on embodied the character of these tenants in a way that I think made the story so incredibly entertaining. I highly recommend you read this book. It will make you think, it will make you laugh, it will make you angry, it will just give you all the feels. The audiobook is everything, so I hope you check it out. Coming in at number 5 is Beautiful Country, and I have that book in my office at work. It is a memoir by a Chinese immigrant woman who is now an attorney, super successful, but my goodness, her journey, her story is one that I think is a must read for everyone. I was so moved and troubled by how she was treated, how her parents were treated. They were very successful in China, and in immigrating over to the United States, really had to humble themselves and take on menial jobs that were seen as being quite beneath them, yet necessary in order for them to be able to, quite frankly, survive in this new country that is supposed to be the country of opportunity, that is a melting pot. Yet they were very much othered by the people around them, even in New York City, which you feel like everybody is in New York City of all kinds of different racial, ethnic backgrounds and the such. And so to think how even in New York, it was difficult for them to feel like they were truly a part of America is deeply troubling. And it was a book that also examined the school experience for an immigrant student. Kian, the author who lived this experience, shares some hard truths about some of the teachers that she had over the years throughout her childhood. And some of the stories that she had to share are very troubling, yet sometimes we as educators can learn even more from those who are not really doing a good job at teaching. There's a lot to be learned, both by those who are incredibly gifted in the field and those who really give us a bad name. And I just hate for Kian and so many other students that they've had such negative experiences from teachers, yet there was so much for me to learn and share with my colleagues. So, incredible book. Beautiful Country, you delivered. Number 4 for my favorite quarterly read is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book was such a pleasant surprise. Everybody kept saying, please read this. You don't have to be a gamer to appreciate it. And interestingly enough, my husband growing up was a gamer. The most I gamed was with Mario, and I'm not that great. Yet I have such a love and appreciation for gaming because it really truly is one of those standout experiences and characteristics for my generation. We are like the gaming generation. When we saw Atari, we saw Nintendo, Super Nintendo, we really lived the evolution of gaming. And so we have two friends, Sam and Sadie, who met each other in an unconventional way, and yet what brought them together were games. And they grow up, they go to school, and Sadie is studying at MIT, and she's created this game and reunites with Sam, and they become incredible game creators, super successful, along with Sam's roommate Marks, who is their producer. And so this friendship triangle ensues, and it's so deeply emotional. And the way that Gabrielle examines friendship and relationships through these characters is something that I think is a reading experience I will always treasure. So, highly recommend this book. It is my number 4 favorite read of the third quarter of the year. Yay! Now, this one, y'all, is a total surprise. I had no idea this would be in my top favorite books of the third quarter, my top favorite of anything. I was open to reading the book and giving it a try, and oh my goodness, am I so forever grateful that I did. I'm grateful to A. Marie's book club for lifting up What We Fed to the Manticore. Oh my goodness, this collection of short stories are told from animals' perspectives. We have a donkey telling a story about being in this makeshift zoo and becomes neighbors and friends with 2 tigers, and the way the donkey speaks of his owner, it's truly a friendship, a bond, a familial bond. There's other stories like a dog and this zookeeper and their relationship with a rhino and the rhino's child. You know, I say child because there's some human elements to this. Like, it's really amazing how I found myself really seeing them as wild, like, I don't want to say wild, as animals, yet there were some human elements, and I almost had to see them through my own lens as a human being to appreciate that, yeah, these animals are living things and they have stories to tell and experiences that they're experiencing. And I just fell in love with every single story, every single animal, and also the humans who were a part of their lives and the way they cared for them and how appreciative the animals were. So, I mean, this book has me thinking about volunteering at an animal shelter, which is like something I had never even thought about before. So that's how effective this book is. I loved What We Fed to the Manticore. Woo! September is representing, y'all, in this wonderful quarterly favorites video. I read Blackout in September, and it is also a collection of short stories. So I feel like short stories are like doing their thing here. We've got stories from the Tenants Downstairs, we've got What We Fed to the Manticore, and we've got Blackout, a story that takes place in New York City during a blackout, and there are these young people of color whose paths cross because they're all headed to the same block party that was scheduled prior to there being a blackout, and they're determined to make this block party happen regardless of the situation of the blackout. Some of these characters know each other, some do not, and their stories of love and friendship and romance and discovering themselves is just absolutely riveting. I love this collection of short stories, and I'm not surprised. We've got Tiffany D. Jackson, we've got, oh my goodness, so many authors. I believe Angie Thomas, so many young adult authors that just come through all the time with their own individual books. And so to have them come together is truly a dynamic reading experience. You've got to check out Blackout. Loved it, and I think you will too. Drum roll, please. Coming in at number 1 for my favorite read of the third quarter of the year 2022, baby, is Miss Vincent's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. This book, oh my lordy, I cannot believe how much I love this book about 2 British ladies that are just so random. It's taking place in the 1950s. So awkward. Both of them are so awkward and quirky, which I'm awkward and quirky, so I get that part. I get that connection. But like Marjorie is in search of a rare beetle and goes on this exploration, this trip with Enid Pretty, who she hired to be her assistant, who has no experience in this field of, I don't know what the heck you'd even call it. Nonetheless, neither one of them are scientists, but they end up having and forming an unlikely friendship an unlikely bond. There's also this funny element of this man who's following them around and trying to chase them. It ends up not being funny in the end, but it was entertaining. Every character has a purpose. Every character has a compelling backstory, and I'm discovering that I'm a character-driven reader. I love me some books that are character-driven, and I will follow any plot as long as I am loving those characters, and Miss Vincent's Beetle exemplifies that. So you guys, if you haven't already, pick up Miss Vincent's Beetle. I believe it came out in 2020, and I am like obsessed with this book. I want everybody to read it, so if you haven't, please do so. You will not regret it. All right, so those are my favorite books of the third quarter of the year 2022, and I would love for you to check out more of my videos, including the other favorites, like my favorites of the first quarter of the year 2022. I also have my favorites of the second quarter, so check those out, and until next time, happy reading. Bye.